Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV. Here we go into Saltcloak. The queue happened sooner than I thought it would. Got some dragons, looks like. Makes sense. A lot of crystal formations back here naturally. Why don't they take those? A pretty cool looking party. As with most dungeons, let's eat some food. That healer's hot to trot. And the warrior doesn't have his stance on. I tell you, the way that Square feels about making tanking, it's probably not going to be too many more patches before they just decide to get rid of the stance, and it'll just be tank actions cause enmity. And off tanks will just have to go and stand in front, and if there's cleaves, then they'll have to eat them, or they'll have to like use shirk. I truly do miss Heavensward style tanking. Before enmity mitigators, sub-skills were really like a standardized format. When enmity combos meant that tanks had to be more involved with not only their rotation, but with the enemy. And basically, it was a time period where, you know, like, high-end raiders were like, if you're not bringing our ninja, I'm not playing. Because they didn't want to have to worry about enmity management. They wanted someone else to do it for them. Which was always really funny to me. Like, yes, it meant slightly higher raid DPS. And obviously with the ninja, much higher raid DPS to the trick attack. But at the same time, it was just like, but if you don't want to play tank, if you want to play DPS, go play DPS, right? And there's nothing wrong with you using strength accessories, there's nothing wrong with you specking your optional stats that we used to be able to spec. We used to be able to spec 30 of a chosen attribute to, you know, like, you had 30 points, you could put into any main attribute you wanted. So you could, like as a tank, you could get 30 more vitality, or you could get 30 more, you know, strength or something. You know, same thing for healers with like mind or vitality. Like black mages even had this thing for a little while where they put like 3 of their allocation points into piety, which used to be a main stat, so they could get 1 more fire, 1 cast during their fire phase. Right? There were all these little nuances that they steadily trimmed out of the game, which given all the time that the game has been in, has made the game, you know, in some ways feel lesser than what it was. Although it's still quite fun. Don't get me wrong. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be doing this. But I retain the right to be salty if I want to about changes they make that I don't like. Which has pretty much been almost every single change that they've done that's been major. Oh boy. This thing's trying to like dodge or something? What is he doing? probably just trying to avoid snowdrift, and he doesn't know exactly when he needs to be moving. If he does this with every single boss, though, I'm going to be irritated. Slow enough that we can ignore them. The boss will die before they do anything problematic. I guess Saltcloak came out about the same time that Sunken Temple of Karn hard mode and Tastasha hard mode came out. And this healer just wants to go. So I can understand, but I mean, come on now, you're not the tank. Please stop running ahead. Like, it's not really that much of a problem if someone runs ahead of a tank, but if the tank is like moving so slowly that, like, you know, without sprinting, you can run into the next trash pack before them, you might just want to, you know, take a chill pill and slow down, because the tank is likely not going to speed up, especially since the healer isn't even communicating with words that they want the tank to speed up. They're just like running off ahead and being like, where are you, you know? I thought I ate my bacon bread. Yeah, whatever. You know, I've been saying this a lot. Tanks, like, they don't look at their mini-map or whatever. They're just, like, expecting a railroad or something. Like, no turns at all. I mean, dungeons are pretty straightforward as it is. But, you know, it's actually mild exaggeration to say that they're all just straight up a railroad ride to the very end where you don't have to think at all. But I mean, like, well, it's not very intensive thinking, you know, it's not critical thinking. Like, you know, you're never really going to truly be stumped by a dungeon layout. Dude, why are we just standing here, man? Anyway. Oh, you're never gonna just truly be stumped or anything? You know, dungeons do have twists and turns. They do, you know, have things that obstruct your forward momentum that aren't just monsters. Like, occasionally there's, you know, switches you have to hit, doors you gotta open. Or like a thing you have to use to transform into a creature so you can fly across a pit. It's never very involved, you know, it's always fairly simplistic. They haven't, like, so far really implemented any puzzle solving into dungeons, and nor do I think they ever will. But, you know, sometimes you do have to, like, you know, look at your mini-map, or, you know, pay attention to your surroundings. Right. One time, way back in Second Coil, a white mage that my group had this contentious relationship with, who I actually didn't mind at all, other than she was sometimes a little too... She was always operating at two extremes. Either she was completely confident in her ability to do whatever she was doing, or she felt like, you know, she didn't know what she was doing at all, and, you know, therefore someone should carry her or something. But she once said that she referred to dungeons as, oh, the training raids. Right? Because, and she didn't just mean that from an experience point of view. She was like, they teach you how to raid, you know, like dodge stuff. Bosses have mechanics that show up again. Like she fully meant, you know, like these are to train you, and they kind of are. And the less we get of them, with the less variety we get of them, the mechanics for this boss is basically the Yeti's Frost Breath will turn the Spriggans into snowballs. The bigger the snowballs get, the more damage they'll do to the Yeti when they're knocked into him. And he's gonna do a big ice breath thing eventually that, oh my god. This boss kind of relies on the tank almost completely, almost exclusively. Like any tank could solo this boss for the most part, because it only takes like 3 big snowballs to put the Yeti down. Because a big snowball will take like 28% of its health or something. Something absurd like that. Maybe it was like a little, or maybe it was like 31%. It's not quite 1/3, but it's not, you know, it's a little more than a quarter. And someone's killing the Spriggans. Well, at least we didn't wipe. It took a lot longer than it should have, but I didn't exactly like sit these blokes down and explain the mechanics 100% to them. That's the main problem, though. It's like there are not a lot of thinkers in this player base. Like they don't wanna, they don't get on the game to think. They get on it to do a gameplay loop and to like talk to their friends and to like try on cute glamours and things. It's one of the reasons that like the harder content, you know, is basically like it's relegated to Savage, and they added an ultimate back in Stormblood, and like 85% of the player base doesn't even do Savage, so it's like just not something that the devs even really care about anymore. And dungeons too, really. Devs definitely don't care about dungeons anymore. Like, corporate side of Square is pretty much taken like over half the development team for this game away. Because they're like, it's a success, we don't need you to be developing for it. Just churn out the bare minimum, keep people subscribed, and you know. It'll pay for itself, and we can work on everything else now. Get new revenue streams or whatever. Which is smart from a business perspective, but dumb from a, like, keeping the customers happy perspective. It won't be anytime soon, but within the next, like, 5 or so years, there's going to be a steep drop-off with the player base. Because the graphics will have started to bother people who were, like, care about that thing. And they'll have homogenized so much and will be getting so little per patch that people will start to say, oh, what is this, World of Warcraft? Like, which, I mean, this game already got enough comparisons to that. Perhaps I'm being a bit severe, though. And I know I sounded severe earlier, like this is a sapling, how much could... These are all saplings except for the healer. You know, how could I expect them to just know mechanics with me saying the bare minimum of what needs to be said? But honestly, that's just me hoping, maybe being a bit pretentious, but hoping that, you know, they would sort of infer some stuff that I wouldn't have to spoon feed them the information. Because I could have typed up a gigantic, you know, monologue that was like, these are the exact mechanics for the Yeti. And they could have completely ignored what I said. So, you know, there's no point in typing in more than the bare minimum. Also, you might be wondering why I've been talking so much when there's this really nice music in the background that you'd probably rather be listening to. And honestly, that's because as much as I love the Saltcloak theme, it puts me to sleep because it's so gentle and serene. And I love it. I really do. And I feel like it would be more appropriate as town music rather than as dungeon music. Even given the background and lighting in this dungeon being all gentle and blue. You know. It's like, you get this dungeon in your high-level roulette, or your, they call it 50, 60, 70 now. It used to be called high-level roulette. But you get this dungeon in your roulette late at night. I have legitimately passed out before in this dungeon. I'm just trying to... Part of all my pernicious commentary is... me trying not to yawn and fall asleep. I actually really quite enjoy this dungeon. I actually enjoy it immensely. But it always carries a little bit of pain now because of no one knowing how to do the Yeti. And because, you know, it's just... Oh, that's a cool boss. Wait, did every single person in the party get a achievement? Okay, dude. Okay, dude, you're gonna have to stop twisting the boss here, buddy. So this boss is fairly interesting. Dude, stop twisting the boss. If you're a player like this and you can't keep your character still, don't play tank. There's no damage you can avoid by wiggling your character. There's no advantage to wiggling your character at all, even if you're not a tank, really. If you're a caster, you'll just interrupt your cast. Like, if you've really got antsy hands and you just gotta be moving all the time, play ranged. They have no positionals, and movement is no longer a hindrance to them at all. So, yeah. Just, play ranged. Anywho, sorry for my immense amount of salt. Not really that sorry, though.
The tales do not do you justice, warrior of light. Yes, I know who you are, and you know who I am. I was given the name Izel, but I earned the name Iceheart. This endless cycle of hatred, of bloodshed, of sorrow. You would see it continue, O noble warrior of light.
You think you can actually stop it? Because I'm pretty sure all you're doing is inconveniencing one of the 4 houses. 4!
I would not. I will not. I will bring an end to this war between dragon and man, no matter the cost.
A noble venture, but you don't have the power to do it.
In time, you will come to understand that what we do for the greater good.
If what you do for the greater good, and no matter however noble that might seem or be, if you don't actually have the power to do it, then you're just basically causing chaos.
For Eorzea, for Hydaelyn.
Hydaelyn the planet or Hydaelyn my mom? Oh, we won't be able to use that aetheryte. At least not yet. So Minfilia actually came back out into the cold. Now this I've got to see. Look, a change in wardrobe. She's actually wearing a fur coat. What a sensible woman. She lay down with a dragon, the gravest of all sins, according to Ishgardian faith. Holy act, huh? Blessed union of man and dragon. So she fucked a dragon. Okay. Yeah, I kind of just stood there like a bump on a log. I mean, I had my weapon out and I could have stopped her. But I just chose not to because I'm Clyde the blockhead. Sapper must be a scout. Or like a demolitions expert, maybe? I don't know. There are those who believe that faith is a renunciation of free will, that unquestioning devotion is required of all who would have a life in service to the Fury. Such righteous fervor may well serve a knight on the front lines, less so a leader of men. We are all at liberty to interpret the scriptures as we will. I choose to believe that the Fury would value the lives of her followers over the deaths of her enemies. But I would not presume to speak for the Knights of Eld. 'Twas a different time, nay, a different era, and Scripture tells us only so much. Would that it told us more. Oh, she's a cutie. She's got green hair. H.C. Bailey would love her. That man is awfully pragmatic for a servant of the Holy See. Well, if the Sahagin Elder was anything to go about, perhaps the Echo is required to summon a Primal? Where it just takes the Echo in one of the summoners, and then crystals and energy, basically, and conviction. Because crystals are just sublimated ether, right? So... And sublimation is when, you know, vapor suddenly becomes solid with no liquid state in between. At least if I remember chemistry correctly. It's been quite a while since I had a chemistry course. Aw, Clyde's a role model, despite the fact that he's a complete blockhead. Ew, Lalafell. Let's see. We were in Saltcloak for what, 25 or so minutes, and then, let's see, that cutscene was 7. So what are we at, like the 33-minute mark? I probably won't get to the trial today. If you're good at picking up on context clues, then not that you'd have to be, the amount of times they bashed us over the head with it. We're gonna have to fight Shiva at some point, so. Balls! My ankle is on fire. Caught my boot on a rock or something. Twisted as I fell. Uh-oh, and you're the healer of the group. That's not good. That's not good at all. You hell-scarred Rogadin. So if there's like, what, like 6 or 7 units of Crystal Braves or whatever, like, and the third is almost entirely from Ul'dah. Now, like, this organization's been growing by leaps and bounds. There has to have been some actual measure of time passage to go from just 8 members, including Ilberd, to, you know, like 7 units or whatever of like 6 to 7, you know, Crystal Braves. It's got to at least been like a month, you know, like in time passage, but the amount of time that actually passes in this game's story, the devs never want to be concrete on. They just want, like, it's just like, it's enough for them that some time has passed. It's some unspecified amount of time. And it's because they don't want to write themselves into a corner. They're like, if we start doing exact time windows, we'll write ourselves into a corner eventually when, you know, eventually a time gap doesn't make sense. Kind of like with Star Wars, you know, like the prequels, like they were like a loose plan that George Lucas wanted to do, but he didn't have any exact time frame set up for it other than, you know, like Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker is his son and yada yada yada. I don't believe for a second that you're actually wounded, do you, Hase? I think you're a lazy piece of shit from Ul'dah, who probably was once a brass blade, and you probably fucking rotten to the core. I bet you the whole third unit of Crystal Braves is rotten to the core. Do you reckon that Laurentius is in the third unit? I mean, he's not from Ul'dah, but... Also, how do fantasy writers always seem to get desert locales names to sound so deserty? Because, like, Ul'dah, like, that screams desert to me. But then, like, in Diablo 2, Lut Gholein also screams desert to me. I don't know. Ooh, Ilberd cut him off. And Alpha Node too. Ooh, new Gary showed up. I wonder how she feels about the snow being from Doma. That's interesting. I don't remember that interconnection. She's gonna live as her ninja talent. I wonder why they had her wear chainmail boots though. Ninja can't wear chainmail. They introduced them wearing the striking set. As far as I know, there's no chainmail set that Monk can wear at all, so... Tendrils of intrigue, huh? Ooh, the agent is among Raban's innermost circle. Uldah's military is made up of disparate orders, most of which were glorified mercenary companies that answered only to their own paymasters. Hardly an ideal environment in which to establish something as high-minded as a grand company. The difficulties Raban faced with when founding the Immortal Flames are well known. Even after he had convinced his fellow syndicate members to share the cost, there remained the small matter of finding enough bodies to fill the ranks. So we got Delman ninjas. Okay, okay. Emergency Council of Alliance Leadership, huh? All sorts of stuff's going down. I'm not really too worried about Minfilia's consent, honestly, there, Alpha No. You don't suppose what Ilbert said about the Ildan Grand Company also applies to the Crystal Braves, do you? I mean, we just recruited a bunch of people off the street, more or less. And, like, the only people loyal to Alphanaud that you could even consider close to being a Crystal Brave would be me. So the only Crystal Braves that you could really consider loyal would be the ones who wouldn't turn their back on the Warrior of Light. So that's like Alianne, Riol, Wilrid, and pretty much everybody else could probably be bought. You know, what if we got a spy in our midst? Probably do, don't we? I'd check in on the squadron right now, but, well, I already did that before the video started. They're going to be training for another 15 minutes, so, yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I think, rather not risk getting cut off in the middle of some lengthy cutscenes, so... See. Unlike Raban, politics is not my cup of tea. While you and the commander attend the council, I will attend to some business of my own. Okay. Well, I'm going to cut it off here for now, and I'm just going to probably pick right back up with another recording. So thanks for watching if you did. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed all my salty commentary while we were in Snowcloak. And for me, I guess you could call it Saltcloak. But stay safe out there and have a good day.